just said, right, even for the non-believers that are maybe now starting to be enlightened by the power of Yangon, wow, with them playing like that and some of the other teams that are bubbling to a brim blank, looking like, you know, they've got the boxing down. They're able to hit you with a... You've got to be scared. You've got to be worried. You can't be on the back foot because they're going to knock you over and KO you.
You do not want that to happen, so you need to re-deliver an uppercut straight to Yangon, or at least these rankings, because we do need to get further upside here. We have a vertical uppercut of a plane path coming through up towards shooting range again. For DRX, after PMGC with D+, it is nice to see that region continue to pop off in these international tournaments. So easy, making it look pretty easy at times, and it's nice the way that they're currently playing out on their rotations and the late games. For Yangon Galacticos feeling like a true edge team now, though, which is very, very sweet to see. I think there's not a lot of teams that really play like that here in this lobby. It's very, very slow paced at times, but calculating, turned strategic towards that end game. And when Yangon saw that opportunity, they took it. And they didn't go out that game without a lot of eliminations either. They were really quite good at sweeping where everyone else had taken a lot of casualties. They realized that, look, if we could just maintain 4 players, we're going to have a fantastic time towards that end game. Because a lot of other teams will have fought against one another. And the thing that popped all that off was a very early decision to hold out towards Westbridge on Rozok. It was from minute 10 that they'd been setting that up, so it looked very, very cool. In the meantime, we're going to have a hard southwest circle with a lot of water in it, so most teams likely will be outside the circle for some time, Jackie, just getting looted.
Yeah, have that opportunity to get looted, suited and booted inside of the blue as it ushers you further forward with those early zones, just kind of tickling you rather than really denting you. Man, it's kind of impressive when you actually look at the split there. Obviously trickling down, right, from Yangon that are on screen now with 93 points, closest second being Alpha on 77. It's that mid portion that is a bizarre level of leapfrog capability. Power on 41, all the way up to Regnum Karia, just behind Alter Ego in 4th place there on 47, tied with Fireflux. Like, the opportunity for some of these teams to shift is gargantuan, but it's the point vacuum of Yangon that really makes it so terrifying. Because as much as you can power struggle amongst each other, trying to overtake them, if this day continues, it is going to need everything from all 4 players on your squad.
It's terrifying. It really is terrifying. I mean, you speak of the points vacuum, and they have been creating a ridiculous vacuum over towards the top side of things. If you look at 11th place to 4th place, it is a 10-point difference. That kind of optic is just wild to even utter out loud. So there is a lot of interchangeability on these rankings, but the further Yangon Galacticos gets ahead, the worse it's going to become for teams on the final day, where match point is realistically just not achievable until match 3, match 4, in which case Yangon Galacticos can reach those heights nice and early and just close out the entire tournament there and then. It's also worrying because it's not like Yangon Galacticos is not getting a ton of chicken dinners, the thing that will initiate the Smash ruling.
I think everyone's backs are going to be up, everyone's eyes are going to be dialed in. Maybe for some teams, the decision-making changes a little bit when you realize, look, we not only need to start to win these games and play better individually, but we need to target these fights a bit more. We need to control who's actually getting the outcome of points off the back of the games. We'll see if it will be a bit of a bumpy ride, though, to start off. We're here on the night bus as we crash in with Regnum Karia. You had the bypass from Yangon, bit of a split up. I think it was Romeo inside of the ruins. Kind of fitting, actually.
Yep. Will not be heading down over towards the crypts, though. And this time, Romeo will survive as Regnum Karia passes on by. Like ships of the night there. They won't come into contact with one another. Yangon Galacticos, Romeo sees another day. But a nice rotate, in my opinion, from Regnum Karya, and this is a great time to unleash bullets from Romeo. It's the final player. He knows it's the final player as well from Regnum Karya to move through, so why not take a couple of shots? Maybe you can weaken a team that's going in front of you with the M249. There was a great opportunity for it.
Yeah, it was a good engage. I mean, the thing is, you'd be singing his praises if he was able to isolate just Loxy there. No one would have been anywhere near being able to turn their heads on a swivel and get back in time to pick him back up, so he could have grabbed that one. Takes the engage at a smart opportunity. Neither side gets what they wanted, though.
It's cool, though, because I think a lot of teams, if they were Romeo in that situation, they would have just been glad to get out of there, you know, unspotted. But Romeo's thinking about what's the next step. What's the next step for me here is to try and weaken a team ahead. That's how he can do it. And again, that's the big thing that makes Yangon Galacticos so good, is just that proactive nature. And I think that we've talked about them so much, and you're probably getting quite bored of us talking about them, but there is a lot to say about this team that other teams can learn from.
No, it's true. It's been great decision-making. And I think that's the nice thing as well, because it feels like all the individuals have had their moments, whereas, you know, we've seen some of our squads where that's been a bit of a bigger issue, right? Feels like it's top-heavy with 2 or 3 players in some teams that have been able to really excel, but the weaker links are pulling the chain apart, and you can't have that, especially now, the position we're in the tournament, with how it's going as well on the day. Yeah, everyone's got to shape up, get yourself in position quickly. For Power, there's been some very high highs, but similarly, we've had some lows as contrast for them. It's Weibo's order that's got vision over, taking a few establishing shots at least with cover to play with.
Weibo did start down towards Primorsk. It's a good spot, at least on this circle as well, I'd say, where it's probably going to set up around this region of the map unless we get some very, very difficult circles into the future. But a lot of teams making these quick rotates. Regnum Karya being one of them. We saw them earlier, but they have tucked in very quickly down towards this south side. And it is a huge clump, huge mass of teams, all trying to play around these swamps, pick up some of the high ground, some of the more critical compounds in that area, because there's only a few. There is only a few.
Ooh, Koa. Okay, that's the Falcons that get first contact over onto Team Secret. Fragment them a little bit. 3 vehicles to play with, so they can put up a bit of temporary cover. It's actually the additional Jeep as well. So 4 of them in cars here, looking for the rotate back over, taking the fight to where the shots have come from. But it's Regnum Karya that are there, so it's a little bit messy. Squads all around, wild. Quick taps up, gets a bit of chip damage off, but no overcommit. The RX just hearing all of this.
Staying quiet with it, though. Don't want to really get too involved in the commotion, especially when you're one of the more central teams. You are very, very set up for third parties to come your way, who want to remove you from that location, have it as their own. So you do have to be careful which fights you're picking to take and which you're just letting go by. We're getting through towards our second circle of the game soon. Alpha Gaming moved up from Sosnovka. They're on the eastern side of Ferry Pier, one of the last teams that will be heading over towards the center of the circle. But again, this next circle could change a lot in terms of positioning. You can see a lot of this eastern area is completely void of players other than the ones coming in late, just because it's a lot of fielded area. You don't really want to position yourself early, and most teams did make the correct decision over towards this northern side of Primorsk.
I was curious on the rotate if we'd see Hora run into Alter Ego as well. They caught whiff of one another and immediately bailed on it, so instead go for a bit of a wider wrap on that. Could get funneled slightly further down towards Fire Flux, though. It's Yangon that are just ahead of Alter Ego there. A little bit of damage that's coming through as well. We cut back over to the Alpha action. See what they're up to. Bit of a rotate. Thunder Talk's not far off. They got a bit of a free roam into the zone.
Yeah, the big thing for Yangon Galacticos, and it's something that Alter Ego has to be massively aware of, especially on our next match over on Erangel, if they make this similar rotate. Oh, for Hedon, that's not a bad park, actually. It's not a bad, I think it is just tucked in, but it's Falcons up against Power. We'll talk about Yangon Galacticos and Alter Ego in just a second. This is good damage coming through from the Falcons overall over towards Power. Lots of damage sent in, and the first knock is found over towards Al-Haji.
Yeah, better than good, it's great. Falcons making the plays and trying to put Power on the dinner plate for this one. Koa up top, casting nades in, trying to keep a little bit of high ground Overwatch for the team that are close, with Redox and Ralph in position. No rest and relaxation for Power. Don't really want to over-egg it though. You've got that chip damage in, you forced them to burn some of their resources, and you want it to be a clean fight in the head-to-head.
That's a nice breakdown coming through from Doc at distance, but you know he's got it in him. If you look at that, you're talking of resources. Power is struggling. I didn't think I saw too many first aid kits on board. They're just running on stims at the moment to keep themselves nice and topped up with bandages as well. Falcons find themselves in a good position. They are completely surrounded by teams, and this is a position of the map that they like to hold for their own, but it's order from Weibo to find Ralph at distance. This is from inside of Quarry. This does put a halt on this one. A little bit of respite now for Power.
Ooh, Valo. Incredibly low on the drive around. He gets himself into cover at least, so he can't be shot in the backline from Weibo, like you were saying. Obviously, they had the full lay of the land on this. Order got the read on Power when they pushed up, so they know what's happening here. In this downtime, even though it's been limited resources for Power, they've been able to reset themselves from the initial chip damage that was cast out. So they're not in a horrific spot. It just depends who's able to land the first punch.
Difficult for Falcons. I wonder how many nades they have remaining, and like you said, it's very hard for them to even step out and get those nades in because Weibo's watching. Weibo is watching. Loot crate being dropped off as we head over towards the next circle, which will confirm over towards Quarry. Very interesting ending on the circle here. DRX is going to look for the high ground compound that's down towards the south of them, which is a very nice spot to play around, but we'll wait and see of where those next circles go. A lot of prime position to be taken. And this is one that doesn't really benefit Yangon on their very much edge playstyle. It is hard to come in from those edges a lot of time, but E-Arena's just not moving at all. They're just happy to see sit out on the beachhead.
And this is really movement for absolutely everyone. Obviously, Power and Falcons that have been trapped in position for so long. You get the move up from DRX, Fireflux that were there to spot it. All Regn and Kari are hustling and bustling as they try and bypass all the commotion that's being caused. So it's all getting quite intense. A bit of a hell in the cell matchup on this one. Scarface up close, trying to get the bullets on target as they chicane in the vehicles and keep them guessing with the crosshair placement. Meanwhile, it's he that gets the shot back over onto Toshvik.
Yeah, Regnum, this is a bold push from Regnum Kaya. We have to say, and I mean, I know where they're coming from because what they have been angling towards every single game so far is just aggressive pushes, take center. We know we play center very well. Personally, in my opinion, trying to just brute force it over towards the center of Quarry, it's not a great idea, okay? It's just not the best of ideas. Yes, you might have found a small opening here, but you know there's going to be so many more teams nice and central earlier than you.
Okay, so this fight that's been going on for so long finally kicks back off, and it's Power that literally handle it with ease. I mean, sideline shot from Regnum Kari is really the only beneficial thing that comes in to slow them down. But Falcons, you run into a brick wall of Power on that, just shot after shot.
Power just kind of wandered in. With the rest of the Falcons sent out and two players left alone on the backside there. And for Power, they were a beast cornered. They saw that slight opening and they quickly shimmied through. And they know they've got the firepower to make it happen as well. Fireflux still roaming in vehicles. There's a position to play for them as they come further down from that north side. Yangon Galacticos as well as Alter Ego playing it safe and slow on the north.
Ego fans there as well, flying the banner. Currently in 4th place, all 4 players alive, 51 points to their name. Nearly 50 points ahead for Yangon. That's just the disparity that we're working with inside of this lobby. Nonshin just playing on the ridge here, upwards hill fight for them towards Hora that have just been scouting, looking on the periphery to see if there is an opportunity to actually take a clean fight to this. Cover to work with Doc C at least having a bit of protection from the hovercraft.
Circle shifts out over towards that western side. Eda's got a great position, by the way. A lovely spot to work around with. It does cut you off slightly in terms of sightlines over the ridge there, but in terms of safety, very, very nice. The only problem will come into effect when they let teams get too close, because suddenly you become very nadeable, and that is a possibility over the fields, but not until much later in the game where we start cutting out a lot more teams. So right now, Eda's got a very, very strong position to play from, which is promising for their late game. Not so promising for a lot of teams over on the edge. They feel like they've been lied to on this circle. Will have to slowly force their way through pretty rough terrain through Quarry to get over towards this western side, and even then you're heading over towards the swamps, over towards fields. E-Arena, in fact, gets themselves a very nice position on this beachhead. They can play over towards the plateaus to sit on that western side and drag this game out.
Yeah, this actually could work out well for them in the long con. Meanwhile now though, Blank, Compound move up round towards Alter Ego and Yangon. Low HP for Krypton, barely dodging the shrapnel from that one. Yeah, if he went down, it could have been uncomfortable. Protection from Moana at least as well. You could actually backstab up on towards Smile, and E-Arena are getting a little bit of a look in towards this one. In the meantime, Horror as well. We lose out on Sleepy as Fireflux take the engagement there, and this is what I was saying. I mean, E-Arena, you get Joker, instant tag there from the side. He's able to punish onto one of the players, break up the fight a little bit.
Yeah, this is a pretty wild fight though. Happening on our screens is Alter Ego in 4th place challenging against our current 1st placers in Yangon Galacticos, and Alter Ego take over the buildings just in miraculous fashion, and Yangon Galacticos really had nothing to say back to them. Now they're starting to work the problem. 2 players off towards the side of Rosemary, and Nate goes in, does a fair bit of damage, but no, not quite found yet. I think Murnat went down but was quickly brought back up into the fray.
Rosemary's low, forced to top himself back up with a temporary HP to play with on this one. Meanwhile as well, Team Secret up against 4 Fribes, and they're handling that one with ease, it seems. As a bit of damage even further gets thrown on top from Alpha Gaming, but Krypton finally takes the peek up towards the rooftop. That was the isolated player in SayCloud who gets removed from the equation. They've got cover to work with to grab some of the additional resources as well. Meanwhile, down in the close quarters combat, Moana not really with a weapon of choice. You might have one heads-up call to instead try and dip out through the window. He's caught because of it.
I think he should have just held his own. He's got the M249. He has ammo advantage there. I know he wants to get back to the rest of the team. Maybe a bit of a miscom request, and he returns back over towards this building because they have the high ground advantage there. Oh, that is rough. That is very, very rough. Alter Ego going down to 3. And E-Arena waiting in the wings. Nongshim Red Force also taking heavy hits time and time again.
Scarier now for Alter Ego. Throwing out the smokes, they know they're going to have to usher themselves a little bit further forward here eventually as well, with the zone starting to come in and cut off some of the play space inside of the compounds they've got.
Next circle gets a little bit swampish over towards the north side. Actually a horrible circle. There's fields down towards the southwest. There's this one compound that Eda's currently holding. There's the disgusting terrain of Quarry that so many teams need to brave their way through. And on the north side, it's just the swamps that you are going to have to wade into no matter who wins on this north side between Yangon, Alter Ego, as well as E-Arena.
Alter Ego fans still trying to hype them up, hope that they'll walk away with their heads held high on this one. Like you said, the longer it goes on, the more uncomfortable it feels, with E-Arena just sort of perched up, looking for an opportunity to play. Romeo with the spray on the dive over. That's a bit of a chip back onto Rosemary. Actually, Joker as well, getting the spot in again. Same player, same play. Murnat goes down because of it this time. Fireflux fighting out versus Power. Rosemary re-engages back onto them.
They lose Krypton. It'll be hard to get him back up from the position he's playing in, and Romeo will just take him out. So it's Alva and Rosemary, 2 players that we have touted a lot so far, but E-Arena is making this so uncomfortable. It's a heads-up call to move up towards this north side. They know there's going to be barely any teams around this area, so they can just continue to put the hurt on both Alter Ego as well as Yangon Galacticos. It's Team Secret up against Nongshim Red Force, and the aftermath that came through. It's 3 separate teams to put the hurt on over towards Nongshim.
Rosemary with a quick starter step on the peak with the DBS, hoping that he'd be blessed on that one, but it's not going to work from distance. Quick barrage of bullets straight to the face, so low on health. Single taps all they need to at least convert that one and guarantee the Eagle point off the back of Rosemary. E-Arena just edging further closer towards this, feeling more and more comfortable that now's the time to just go for it.
E-Arena very much emboldened by these plays. A good name from Turney K, who now looks to send the shots through the building. Romeo goes down, leaving only Alva now for Alter Ego, and he should not be up too much longer.
Doesn't really have the close range potential. It's the SMG instead. Good for one, but he's left out in the cold. They trade back onto that and can get the pick-me-up play on Joker as well, so they'll still remain as a 4-player squad.
And we are cutting teams out left, right, and center down to 9, but only 28 players at the 20-minute mark here. Ida has just been laughing their heads off. This has been such a comfy game for them to play through. Super relaxed, taking a spa day right now. But Weibo has been dominant over towards the south side. From their cutout from Primorsk over towards Quarry, they have slowly backed things up, just the 9 teams out towards the eastern side of the map. That is not what you want to see. I think this is a nice call from Ida, but it's slightly messy, put it that way. I thought this is an incredible call from Ida. I like the fact that they're pushing out here.
I mean, it's the time to go for it realistically. With Sakura in this position, if they could at least build off the back of it, a bit uncomfortable with the vehicles, but hey ho, let's see how it goes. That's not what you want for Emre. Nate straight round on the side.
They're not tagging
him from HP. You're right, man. They're just not getting enough to engage from this.
Need to get Emre out of that. I mean, he's not getting back up. They might have just fed across one elim to E-Arena, and now they realize that actually we need to go play back in these buildings. They do slow E-Arena down at least, and they're hoping that the remnants of whatever comes out from Quarry, it is going to be a case of those are 3-man, 2-man squads. But with how dominant Weibo's being, it's likely they'll be leaving with not only a lot of eliminations, but also quite a few players still on side.
It's a clean line of sight down onto 4 Thrives, and they're so broken up as well with the placement. The Valak just can't assist on his teammates, so Weibo are able to grab that one with absolute ease. Now you're pinned in position as a last man solo there. They've just had great lines of sight up on top of this ridge for so long. All the teams that have tried to move out from any kind of cover have just been taking so much damage from it. The only team that actually did get out was Power, that again here show up to finish off Regnum Karia.
Power, they've had a bad time. They had a bad time in those warehouses. The fact that they've been able to continue to push through on some difficult timings is really nice to see. Weibo taking out the remainder of Thundertalks here. Sook with some fantastic aim on side with the signature bow in hand too. And Thundertalks just could not make that cross.
No fund up, no talking, just bullets from downrange. DRX, 2 players again here as well. Hyunbin still standing. His brother in arms taking a bit of a hefty hit from that one. It's Valak that's kind of just belly crawling up to see if he can get any kind of impact or potentially just keep his nose clean. Nice nade thrown over, barely off target there.
Shots from the side and a quick swipe that comes through from Valak of all players. He will finally be taken down, and Weibo continues to just rack up point after point after point. 8 elims now held on side, and Fireflux with consistency, which is great to see here for them. We were wondering if the bonfire would start to die down after that last match, but no, they are still here to play here on our angle.
He even spotting vision back out onto Ida. You are pinned in position as well. E-Arena looking to clean up from the first man that they took out so long ago with Emre on that kind of flubbed push they went for. So they're scrapping amongst one another inside of the compound. And Weibo, heads on a swivel really, like 360-degree vision with a lot of the fights that have been going on with opportunity to steal fights.
2,000 total damage in the match as well is nice. They've had a lot of impact here. Again for Ida, that's so cool. Sending over towards the north. What a fun game this has been. But for Ida, it's a case of Emre going out too far. His off angle is way too much. Yes, they missed the nades on it, but he was never getting back out of that situation, right? They had to full commit there. It's a great nade that gets sent in by Eren.
The follow-up from the DBS is good as well. The nade to establish it, Shotty to blow the legs away. Mormon in panic stations now as well. Luckily, heads up call, dips down to the ground floor, able to get out and stay away from the nade, but they roam into it. Mormon replies, close down onto Ida, but look who's here, waiting to strike again. He could very well be him if he's able to find the follow-up impact that they're looking for on this one, with E-Arena reeling to recover.
Fireflux looking to make their setup here, taking shots down the side. Scarface looks for the long-range engagement over towards Weibo. E-Arena cowering over towards the buildings on the western side. And Power, through it all, is still in this game. Still running, not quite on empty. The Power still spiking on the meters. To put some more points up here, currently down towards 9th place, but we said before those points are incredibly interchangeable. You could find yourself up in 4th easily off the back of a chicken dinner on this match.
Yeah, the potential to jump up is there in full force. And the potential for some explosive plays from Suk could very well be coming our way as well. Right now, he's just zoning towards E-Arena, keeping those shots going one after another to make it uncomfortable for them. But Fireflux sees this opportunity to get a little bit closer. More cover to work with, block off the sight lines from any power maneuvers, and instead cause carnage up close versus Weibo. Soulless goes in. Quick burst from the damage. 2 players on low HP. One of them converted as Suk switches to the Shotty. Doesn't need the bow as he's quick with the secondary as well.
Down towards the basement right now. Quick heads-up maneuver coming through from Fireflux to just send down, but Suk's already done quite a bit here. Really has ruined the health bars of Fireflux. He immediately drops to the deck, and this might be a Power game.
Going uncontested for them. There's no need to fight. They can just wait. Everyone else has been scrapping amongst one another, so they're just sitting pretty for the opportunity to even play the game. And after the back of that commotion inside of the basement, it's just E-Arena and Power that are left.
Goodness me, E-Arena, who started the game down towards the beaches, now find themselves in a rough scenario like Sand. And the sands of times are running out here as Power starts to move forward, finding damage over to Mormon, as well as TourneyK, who was not quite able to pull himself out of that position. They have angles on them. Vahiden starts off with one over towards TourneyK, and it's just Mormon as Power starts to descend.
And we would need to see more man from this man, as right now he's trying to get bullets down Rage, but Vahiden's got him spotted, and Power bring the punishment. A game where they were allowed to play slow. You forgot about Power, but they live up to their name and take the chicken dinner on that one.
It's a great performance as well because it shows that they can play slow, they can play it passive, they can play it patient. Power isn't all just about those big elims, those big plays. And again, they got caught very early with little to no resources. They see an opportunity that's given to them by the Falcons, and they jump on top of it over towards those 2 players. It is very nice maneuvers coming through from Power, and set themselves up on that northeast side as well, understanding that most teams probably will be looking for that compound. Everyone kind of misinterpreted the power of the swamp.
Yeah, they were confident enough to play with the open sight lines and just grind it down. And the teams did that work.